Hello, and welcome to today's show, Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess, international leadership expert and trusted advisor. Welcome to Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'm so delighted that you joined me today. I have a very special show for you today. We are going to talk about leadership and racial justice, topics that are very close to my heart. Specifically, we're going to focus on leadership as an antidote to racial injustice. In other words, today's focus is all about asking yourself, how can leaders, that's you, be on the front lines? How can leaders show up in addressing racial injustice? To help us address this important question, I'm going to call on a very special person who has recently published a wonderful piece about leadership as an antidote to racial injustice. Her name is Alaina Love. When I read her blog post, her article, I was inspired. I immediately reached out to her to seek her permission to share her words of insight, challenge, and wisdom. And Alaina said, of course. So before I share her article with you, I want to introduce you to my friend and colleague, Alaina Love, so you can get a better sense of who she is. Now, Alaina is a person of influence and an expert in helping us understand what it takes and what it means to lead. She is deeply passionate about her work and so very inspiring. Alaina is a leader who makes a difference in her own life and in the lives of countless others throughout the world through her work with passion and purpose. I met Alaina about 15 years ago. We were both attending a leadership conference in British Columbia, Canada. And when I heard her speak about her work, she was just glowing. She just drew you in. Now, Alaina is CEO of Purpose Linked Consulting, and she is co-author of the Purpose Linked Organization, How Passionate Leaders Inspire Winning Teams and Great Results, published by McGraw-Hill. Alaina is also a recovering HR executive, a global speaker and leadership expert, and passionate about everything having to do with, well, passion, right? In fact, her passion archetypes are builder, transformer, and healer. I can't think of a better person to address this topic about leadership as an antidote to racial injustice. Now, you can learn more about how to grow leaders, build passionate teams, and leverage passion to create great customer outcomes on Alaina Love's website, which I will give you later in the show. Now, when Miss Love is not working with her Fortune 500 client base, she is busy writing her next book, Passionality, the art and science of finding your passion and living your bliss. I can't wait till that book comes out. Now, this book aligns with her work in personality, purpose, and passion, and the science of how it contributes to our well-being. Alaina is an alumna of the University of Michigan. Yay, go blue! Yes, I'm a very proud alumni of U of M as well. And she is a graduate of U of M's Ross School of Business in Change and Leadership. Since graduating from the U of M, she has served as a leadership columnist for Bloomberg Businessweek, The Washington Post, and Harvard Business Review Online. One of her many pursuits is writing, of course. She enjoys writing a popular monthly blog for Smart Brief on leadership. Another one of Miss Love's passions is research. With a research team from University of Michigan, her organization, which again is called Purpose Linked Consulting, developed what is called the Passion Profiler. Now, what is that, you might ask? Well, Alaina tells us all about that in another podcast where she was my very special guest. So be sure to listen to that amazing two-part interview with Alaina Love and Dr. Gloria. I want you to learn more about her brilliance and her amazing work. Now, I'm so excited to have this leader with us today through her blog. So let's hear from Alaina in her own words. She begins, "For many African American employees in your organization, these last 2 weeks feel like they've been 100 years long. Along with millions of people around the world, they've witnessed the horror of George Floyd being held to the ground by a police officer with such force on his neck that it resulted in his death. A life was lost right before our eyes, and no one in authority did anything to stop it. Floyd's homicide follows those of other black men and women, including Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Freddie Gray, Eric Gardner, Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, and many, many more, at the hands of those in power or in institutions of authority. These institutional leaders, the police in this case, control the culture we experience in our neighborhoods, the very same way you control the cultural environment that employees experience in your organization. Since Mr. Floyd's death and the ensuing protests, company after company have released statements of outrage over what transpired, with renewed pledges of commitment to inclusion and diversity in their organizational practices. Yet, for many of your employees, especially those who are people of color, these words ring hollow. They've heard these pledges before. They've sat on diversity committees and participated in affinity groups designed to foster understanding, communication, and opportunities for minority employees. They've sat through numerous training programs that yielded temporary shifts in interactions with non-minority colleagues, only to watch as the momentum of such training waned because of a lack of leadership follow-through. They've been the token person of color on teams, had their qualifications for their job and role questioned, and watched as colleagues with less skill and lighter skin got promoted over them. Is it any wonder that these employees are skeptical, disillusioned, or, dare I say, angry at the current state of affairs in our country? Is it any wonder that they question the sincerity of company leaders to finally take inclusion and diversity as seriously as they take the success of a product launch or meeting quarterly financial goals? Your people are in pain, and as a leader, you play an important role in alleviating it. That will take a lot more than platitudes or hollow promises that fall by the wayside within months of making them. A good place to start is by working to understand what Black employees are feeling right now. Perhaps I can offer a real-life personal example. I am an African American woman with corporate leadership experience. I'm also the mother of a biracial son. Because of the reality in our nation, I've had to have conversations with my son about his safety, conversations that no parent should have to have with their child. Every time a Black person is senselessly murdered, we have that conversation again. It's like the movie Groundhog Day, except a lot less fun. Consider for a moment that I am not unique. Your employees of color are probably engaged in the same conversations with the people they love. They are worried, they are sick with sadness and losing sleep at night. In truth, they may be struggling to be at their best at work today because they are in the middle of a full-blown, heart-wrenching grieving. The kind that comes in waves and then oozes out drop by drop, like some ancient form of medieval torture. So, what's the playbook for leaders who are navigating these issues with their teams? There isn't one. Addressing racial injustice and improving inclusion and diversity in your organization are about more than a prescriptive playbook. What's required is a sustained mindset shift that leads to real change. To get started, here are 5 first steps that you can implement right away. Number 1, give your employees a chance to take a breath. They've just been gut punched, and it may take a bit to recover. To support this, offer opportunities for employees of all backgrounds to share with you and with their colleagues what they are experiencing. Scheduling a standing audio or web call on this subject is a way for employees to feel heard and also offers an opportunity for learning, the rare silver lining that may come from this most recent tragedy. Pick up the phone and check in with your people on an individual basis, even if you don't quite know what to say. It's okay to call a minority employee and admit, I can't possibly understand what you're feeling, but I want you to know that I care. Is there any way that I can help you during this difficult time? A second step. Engage your employees in developing a long-term solution. Recognize that what you've done in the space of inclusion and diversity in the past may be insufficient for the new norm we are operating within. The perfect storm of a global pandemic coupled with George Floyd's death is highlighting the pattern of racial injustice in our civil and healthcare systems, with Black people disproportionately affected. Your employees are experiencing the company culture directly and are in the best position to offer ideas about how to improve it. Invite their voices to be heard, listen to them, and implement their ideas. Get serious about innovation around inclusion and diversity in the same way you're serious about product innovation. One feeds the other. Number 3, lose the platitudes and replace them with action. It's insufficient to say that you value inclusion and embrace diversity when the representation of people of color on your staff or C-suite shows the opposite. Currently, just 4 companies in the Fortune 500 are led by African American CEOs. If you want to take this seriously, begin by examining where you are as an organization. A toolkit created by Paradigm for Parity, an organization focused on gender equality in the workplace, offers a simple model and an applicable guide for examining the questions each company needs to ask about the environment for minority employees. What is the baseline representation of diverse employees in our organization? How can we improve the recruitment of diverse people to our teams? what do we need to do to manage with an inclusive mindset so that we retain the people we recruit and support their upward mobility within the organization? Step number 4, make training more than a sheep dip exercise. Implementing broad unconscious bias training in your organization is beneficial, but only if it is followed up with ongoing measurement of inclusion within the culture of the organization and consistent attention to improving inclusion at the team level. It doesn't matter whether your team is composed of 40% minority employees if they are not truly included in the networks of communication, influence, and trust on your team. Measuring inclusion on your team at least annually is the most effective way to uncover issues in team relationships and address them before they negatively affect retention of diverse employees. And step number 5, raise the focus of inclusion and diversity to the CEO level. When any organization is facing a recalcitrant, ongoing problem that affects the business, it always gets serious attention from the CEO. Unfortunately, inclusion and diversity is the exception to this norm in many companies. Finance is a serious function that ultimately reports to the CEO, as are sales, marketing, and legal in most companies. Why shouldn't the inclusion and diversity function be the same? When issues get attention at the CEO and board level, they tend to get solved. If you're taking this issue seriously, raise the focus on it. This is an unprecedented time in our history that is challenging you as a leader to show up and make a difference. Encased within the combined tragedies caused by COVID-19 and racial injustice is an opportunity for you to create a better workplace and a better world. Let's not wait for another crisis to finally take transformative action. Once again, if you're just joining us, I'm Dr. Gloria, and you've just heard the words of Alaina Love, writing about leadership as an antidote to racial injustice. So I want to thank you, Alaina Love. Well said. And again, I want to thank you for allowing me to share your words, your passion for adding value to people, and the many insights and pearls of wisdom you shared with our listeners today. Again, our topic today is leadership as an antidote to racial injustice. I know those of you who are listening in all around the world, I know you want to make your life count. I know you want to be the change you seek. So remember this, how you live is how you lead, right? How you live is how you do everything. So you too can make your team, your organization, your family, your community, you can make our world a better place by showing up and staying at the table. I want you to be sure to listen to this show again and again, and be sure to tell somebody. You can find me, Dr. Gloria, right here on iTunes, Alexa, SoundCloud, Spreaker.com, Talk Network Radio, and so many other places. Now, if you happen to miss any part of this week's show or last week's, you can simply download the recording and listen to it at your convenience. You can even listen on the go. Check us out at www.talknetworkradio.com/legacyliving.html. You can also learn more about my work and Legacy Living Make Your Life Count by visiting the Gloria Burgess website or by visiting me on LinkedIn or Facebook. And that's facebook.com/DrGloria_PhD. All right. Before I close today's show, I want to thank each of you for tuning in, for allowing me to share a bit about my journey with what legacy living is all about. Not just living and learning, but living and learning and serving so that you make a difference in your own life and in the lives of others. It's about being on purpose every single day, 365, 24/7. Legacy living is a powerful way to make your life count. Once again, I want to thank you for joining me for today's show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess, and this is Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. Please join me again next time right here on Talk Network Radio for another show of Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. Don't just count the days in your life. Make the days in your life count. That's what legacy living is all about. Have a fantastic day, and remember, make the days in your life count. God bless. That's our show today. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess. I hope you'll join me again next time. Until then, don't just count the days in your life. Make the days in your life count. That's what legacy living is all about. Here's to you. Have a fantastic day, and be sure to make it a yes kind of day. Remember to celebrate the music of your life. Make the days in your life count.